Check, check, check. Rudy's check. Colin's check. Welcome back to the Predictable Revenue Podcast. This episode is brought to you by our founder coaching program. Founders, let's be real. Scaling a company is tough. You're juggling product, revenue, hiring, and a million other decisions. But what if you had a proven framework and expert guidance to navigate the chaos? That's where our coaching program comes in. Whether you're finding your first customers or fine-tuning your go-to-market strategy, we help you build a business that scales, well, predictably. Ready to take the next step? Give me a call, shoot me an email, find me on LinkedIn. Now let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast, where sales leaders teach you what's working for them so you can build it yourself. I'm joined today by Rudy of Hotelzify, and we're going to talk about his founder product market fit journey. Rudy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
So before we get into the full episode, I'm curious, where did the idea for Hotelzify come from?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it started with a lot of frustration because I used to travel a lot in my previous startup, and also because I enjoyed traveling. And I realized that be it a Marriott or be it a boutique hotel, the websites were just painfully slow. It'd be difficult to find the buttons to book. And there was one time I was trying to book a boutique hotel. I ended up on their website. It looked like it hadn't been updated since like dial-up internet. So you could say late 90s probably. And I just gave up at some point and I just booked on OTA. And later when I was going back to the hotel, I checked and I realized 25% of that booking value went to an OTA because they had a shitty website. And that's when we kind of had this moment saying, hey, can we build something which can help a hotel? Because you have OTAs today who kind of do everything in terms of marketing, great website. And you've seen Shopify do this in e-commerce. You've seen a lot of companies like that. And then we realized, can we build a Shopify plus HubSpot with an AI angle to it? And that's when the idea came to us.
And for those that aren't familiar with the space, what is an OTA?
Yeah, it's an online travel agency. So think of platforms like Booking.com, maybe an Expedia or an Airbnb. Every time you book there as a customer, they take 20 to 30% of that booking value as their commission. So the hotel only gets about 70, 80%. And that fundamentally bleeds a hotel dry.
And so you travel a lot. You had this insight that, hey, this experience sucks. These hotels, these boutique, really nice hotels are leaving money on the table because they don't have the resources of the big Marriott, Hilton, etc. Did you jump in right from there and hire 1,000 devs and just go for it? Or was there did you validate it? Help me understand what came next.
Yeah, no, 1,000 devs. So it was me and my friend, and we just said, okay, let's. So I think I just walked into a couple of hotels and I said, hey, your website sucks. Can I rebuild it for free? I thought they would all say yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all did. Like, I think out of 3 people, one said okay. Then I built a website for them for free, me and my co-founder right now. In a week, we built something out. And, we saw within probably 3 weeks, we saw good uptake in direct bookings. About 2% of that entire top line was coming through that in just 3 weeks, which is still pretty decent. And then when...
For free. That's a great trade.
I just have for free. I said, let me try out, because I think a lot of times we build a lot of products or we start building theses and presentations without seeing if we can actually build value. But building a prototype couple of weeks saves you years of time, right? You can just build something with your friend. Today you have AI, so it's far easier. So we said, let's just build something for free. Let's see if we're creating value, because once you create value, what I've realized is people will pay. And I think for this particular hotel, from a point when they would never pick up my calls and the hotel owner would run away from me, I started getting calls back from him saying, hey, this is good. What can we do more? And that's when we realized, okay, this can work. There is value, because if your client calls you back, I think that's the right place when you know you have some value created.
So how many of these test hotel websites did you do? Was it this one and then you jumped into it?
Right. So we did one. Then he referred us to a couple more. Then what we did is we built a basic app where you can just have any hotel could just build a basic website of their own by plugging in their information. That took us about a month to build. And we reached to a point where we had about 50 hotels using our product. That's the point we said, hey, let's kind of, probably go into this full time, because we do see some value. Till then, we kind of did it as a side hobby. The effort was 110%, but it was a side project at that point.
Cool. So you got about 50 customers. Talk to me about the referrals. So you built one, and then that customer referred you to some other hotels. Did they all close? What was that like?
Yeah, so I think he referred us to two of them. In those two, we are both close because, again, we didn't have to do it for free this time though, so we got some money.
Hey, there you go.
I think so. Those two close, and then I think the first set of customers largely came through. We would go on Google and find a hotel, get the number on the Google page, and give a cold call. And it was largely because it was cheap and it's effective. I can sit from anywhere and start selling. Hotels listened because we were saving them commission. So we would literally start our pitch with, "Do you want to get bookings at 8%?" So from hearing 25% on an online travel platform like a booking.com, they said 8%, sure, I'll listen to you at least, right? It's worth a conversation. And that's, I think, how we kind of got our first 50 properties. And I think eventually at some point, when you start scaling, we started looking at going to travel trade shows, going to, hospitality groups, LinkedIn pages, and then kind of today we're running with about 4,000 hotels in 8 countries directly. We work with 15,000 hotels through partner brands where they use our product with their partner hotels. But I think initially it was just cold calling, and I think that's what worked for us well, and the right pitch, of course.
Uh, one of the I think greatest signs of product market fit is the referral. Is the Not only does your product do the job, but does it so well that your customer has to tell your friends. I think not every industry is going to be as referral friendly, but this pairs with my experience with Carb. Like we shot up 0 to 1 million in a couple of months because we were selling to salespeople. And what do us salespeople love to do? Help each other out. Referral, 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 referral. And so that was like, yes, we hit on something that was really important, but we were also selling to an industry that is really prone to referrals. And so I think I love the referral quotient as a measure of product market fit strength, especially in the early days. It's such a positive, strong sign.
Yep, that's very true. I think in hospitality, the only difference we've noticed is a hotel won't refer to a hotel next to them. So they would refer a hotel which
Mm,
is like few states away or a few hundred
yeah,
miles, which is fine. I think they all know each other, and that helped us actually reach new geographies without us knowing. So, and I think that's a very good way to kind of understand. Another thing that I think where we realize product market fit is, do your customers call you back saying, add this feature, can you do this? I think that's a very, because once you're engaged, you know that they're investing their time as well, and they trust that by talking to you, they'll get some value out of it. And that was one of, at least for us, where I realized, okay, if a customer's calling me, then that's always a good sign.
that's great. And that's a nice signal that you can have at the kind of like 10 to 50 customers, right? Like, are they coming to you and are they reaching out to you and saying, hey, build this? Like, that's to me a strong definition of need. And I love was it the Sean Ellis test where you survey them, you say, would you be, how would you feel if this product didn't exist? Very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, not disappointed at all. And like, that's amazing. And for sending it at scale, it's great for if you're doing it by hand. But I think a signal coming to you is also a really great sign. If people are saying, hey, your product sucks, but make it better, because it's like it's showing that they're willing to like, put up with your crappy product because nothing else has solved their problem before.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think when you said that story, I remember when we first launched, we couldn't have, we'd have a bunch of features, right? So you basically had one price you could book the hotel room at. And the hotel says, hey, I don't sell on the same price on the weekdays and weekends. Weekends have a lot more demand. And we're like, oh, okay, we didn't know that's how it works. Uh, like we thought it's just one price, right? E-commerce is just one price. You don't have different price on different days. And my background is largely from there. But yeah, I think it was very interesting, and I think it's much better when at least they tell you it's crappy and add this. And I think it also tells you that they don't have anyone else, which is a good place to be in, because you want to enter markets where ideally it is in the initial stage you don't have too much competition, because otherwise the big guys will just eat you up.
Mhm. Well, and I think, why would you enter a space where there is strong competition, right? Like, the whole point of doing a startup is to do something new, is to solve a new pain, is to give somebody a superpower that they didn't have previously. So going in and saying, oh, we're HubSpot, but cheaper, and trying to compete directly against HubSpot is a suicide mission. One that I've made, I started by selling a CRM system against Salesforce. It was like Salesforce, but more Ajaxy. I actually said those words once, and I'm embarrassed by it, but I'm brave enough to admit it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you did a couple for free, or you did one for free. They referred you to some others. You charged for those, and then you cold called for the rest. Is that where that kind of first cohort of customers came from? Just you and your cold calling?
Yeah, he was building. I was calling. We had another intern who just had to do an internship because the university required them to, because we didn't have money. So we said we'll give you a certificate in return. So me and the intern would just make cold calls and kind of get more hotels onboarded.
Nice. How many hotels did you onboard by cold calling?
Oh, so we reached up to our first 1,000 just by cold calling.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I mean, not me alone. And we got a team, but uh, first journey was largely cold calling because travel's always had this concept that you need to go and visit a hotel to close a deal. Now, I'm okay with it. I understand why you need it, but you also have to look at unit economics, right? The minute your cost of acquisition goes up, you're going to have to overcharge your customers. And that's actually a conversation we had with a lot of our hotels saying, hey, why didn't you come? We said, sir, I can come, but if I do, there is travel cost, there is me coming there. And then finally, at the end of the day, that cost is a cost of business and they're going to charge you somehow. They're not going to say, hey, it's
Yeah.
okay, I will write it off. So
Yeah.
I think they understood that a lot. So hoteliers were pretty honest and patient and they said, okay. And then they said, okay, can we tweak the model as well? Where, you can pay on conversion. We said, sure, we can, no problem, right? So it's pay as you use, which was a new business model, which came because of a constraint we built because we said we wouldn't go to a hotel. A hotel said, I'm not sure to work with you. And can you do it on a pay per usage model? I said, sure. Then we realized, hey, hotels love it if it's, pay per usage. And that's how we got a new commercial model in itself, which today, if you look at in our industry, no one's offering. And I think somehow it was interesting because the constraint became our biggest benefit in the long run.
And the constraint was you couldn't travel, and so you didn't want to charge just a flat fee. And so you said, sure, we'll take some risk with you.
Yeah. Because I think what happened to a hotel is if you come and visit them and you wear your tie and suit, they trust you because you've been coming there. But obviously, that trust comes as a cost. We were bootstrapped back then. And I think we largely were just trying to figure out how to do it in a cost effective manner. We knew our LTV at that point of time, but we were kind of trying to see how to reduce that CAC more. And then what the hotel said is, see, if I pay you up front, I think one hotel is very clear. It's like, I don't know who you guys are. You might take my money and run away. And I said, yeah, that is possible. I mean, maybe I'm a nice guy, but how can I tell you on the phone? But I think what we kind of realized is, so I told him, okay, so what if we do this? I will, on every booking, you pay me a percentage, or on every booking, you pay me a fixed fee. So as you use the product, I make more. The funny part is we make more money because of this change in commercial model. If we had gone on a fixed SaaS model, which is the old school way, we would have made lesser revenue. So I think it turned out well in that sense. For the hotel, it said, okay, I'm not investing anything upfront. From a technology standpoint, what we did is we said we'll templatize the whole thing. So, I think by our 100th hotel, a hotel could download our app and directly go and build their own website. So it was self-serve from very early time. Again, with the same reason that, hey, if I have an app which you can build on your own, you've kind of gone through the journey and seen the product, you have put in the effort. So you have, I think it's kind of something weird, but our brain finds things more acceptable when we put effort in. So if I put effort to use a particular software, then I will back that software even more because I put effort and I value that effort I kind of put in.
You ever read the book Hooked by Nir Eyal?
Yes, I have. That's a lovely book.
I think I think that's one of the. It's like there's 4 steps to the hook, and one of them was investment.
Okay.
And it was investment, variable reward, and something else. But those are the ones that like really stuck out in the Hooked model. It's a great book. I had a chance to hear him speak at our co-working space, and it was a fantastic experience.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I read the book. I forgot about it, but I think somewhere subconsciously I probably remembered.
Totally. It's one of those counterintuitive things where you make the user do more work and they're going to enjoy the product, or they have a higher likelihood of using the product. When you're building an app like that, it seems like no. We want to automate everything for them, but
True. Yeah.
the inverse is
You
true.
need them to do something, just a little bit or some amount that makes them feel that this has happened because of them. Um,
Yeah.
right. I think that's very
Or
important.
or it's a sunk cost of like, yeah, there's a better tool, but I already put an hour into this one, and I don't want to go put that same hour into the next tool.
True. Yep.
I've definitely used tools. I've got one that I'm thinking of chopping, but I've already put a couple hours into it. And I'm like, I don't know. I probably should go and start another one, but I've already put an hour into it or 2 hours into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think whenever you invest time in something, the sunk cost fallacy kind of kicks in. And in fact, we've had that with hotels who are using other software. So with them, what we did is we built our own tool to kind of create their website using AI on its own. Um, because
Nice.
we wanted them to say, "Hey, I know you put a lot of effort, but I can do this in like with you putting no effort." So if you smile well enough and you say, "Please try our product," they at least say, "Okay, let's give it a shot." So I think if you have to get someone out from someone who's already invested in one product and you kind of want them to switch, make it so seamless that they don't have to do anything. It's completely automated.
Right on. So your first customers came from you and the intern, and then eventually a team cold calling, and that was first 1,000 customers.
Yep.
Wow, that's fantastic. I guess I imagine you're cold calling hotels, and so the pickup rates are pretty good. Was navigating the phone tree challenging, or do you just say, "Hey, can I speak to your GM?"
Yeah. So the only challenge with hotels is the receptions will pick up and you need to get the right contact. So it could be the GM, it could be the owner. So that got difficult. But what we then used to tell a receptionist was that, hey, the hotel next to you, they're using our product. And then we would reach the GM really quick because what we kind of, our insight was that FOMO created a better urgency amongst the receptionist or lower management to bring that to the senior management because there was a constant fear that, hey, if my competitor is using it and I don't tell my GM or my owner, I am going to get, I'm going to listen to it if in case these guys go directly to them. So our pitch was, hey, do you know this hotel? They're using your product. They're using our product and they're really getting a lot of business. We do 5% of the business today with them. Oh, okay, sure. I'll connect you to a GM. And then we realized that was a better pitch. Um, so I think that worked. The second thing that worked in that 1,000 is probably about 300 were referrals because one hotel referred another. And then our team would kind of kick in and then kind of call that hotel and say, hey, your friend told us about you. He said we should call you and you would love our product. So I think that was the second thing that worked well for us.
Amazing. And that was, were you soliciting referrals? Were you asking for them? Were they coming out of the sky?
A bit of both, but I would say probably 70% was coming from the hotels and 30% we were also asking them. But not, I think not very directly like give us referrals, but more like, hey, how do you like our service? If they said it's good, do you think you can help us connect us to your friends? So in a more casual manner. And I think people who liked us, who appreciated the effort we put in, were happy to. I mean, I think human beings don't mind helping you if they've also benefited from you. That's just that's life, and that's how we all operate, right? So I think they were happy to help us there. They just didn't give us to the direct competitor, but someone who's probably from 10, 20 miles away, which is completely fine.
Totally. Oh, that's fantastic. So first 1,000, first few came from hustle and referrals. Next 1,000 came from cold calling and more referrals. When did it start to get predictable? Was it somewhere in that cold calling phase, or has it not got there yet?
Yeah, so I think today it's predictable in the sense that I know if so there are two kind of hotels you work with. One are the independent ones, which require you to reach out, and you reach out to them either by cold calling them or email marketing or referrals. Uh, Today I can predict at a decent level that how many hotels I would onboard organically every month. It will roughly be about 40 to 50 a month, which would come organically itself. If my team cold calls, I know that each person could probably convert about 50 hotels a month. So then it becomes a function of how many people I have. So that kind of gives me for the independence. The second is for the brands. I think there it's a bit, I'll be honest, not super clear because you go to trade conferences, you meet CEOs of say a Best Western or a Marriott, and then you speak to them. You don't know how long it's going to take to close that chain. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so there it is. There we look at things that are on a 6 month cycle. Are we able to kind of move ahead? Are we closing one or two brands every half year? And largely that's only because enterprises take time, right? It's not going to be an overnight decision that they switch or they look at a new product. And that's, I think, the first piece to kind of become predictable. The second one, I am still figuring out. And I mean, if you have ideas, happy to listen to them.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, a longer strategic sale is always a little bit more tricky. It will take time. Are you multi-threading right now? As in, like, you meet the CEO and then you get referred to other people, and then you also prospect into the organization, try and do like top down, bottom up,
Yep.
left and right.
So I think we're doing top heavy and a bit of mid management. Yeah. So Um, but I think with some brands it's really hard. Like I think with some of the brands, because they have hotels in like 30, 40 countries. Sorry, 30, 40 countries. Yeah. But yeah, I think to your point, that's largely how we're doing it. So every conference we go to, try to understand that maybe there's a CMO in some event, CEO in some event, maybe a VP of revenue, which is a very important position for our or the decision maker for us, and then kind of show them the demos of our product, meet all of them, and kind of at least have, because when they have a conversation amongst themselves, I want all of them to know us, right? I think because then at least they'll be like, oh, yeah, hotels, if I've ever heard of them, and I think that is something that we're looking at. And second is I think trying to have LinkedIn ads coming to everyone who's a decision maker, so that subconsciously they keep seeing us and remember us.
Yeah. Can any of these hotels, like a Best Western, can they, like an individual owner or like an individual GM, make a call to change their website, or is that top down from head office?
So website is top down. What we do is marketing, and maybe the call agents can be coming from the hotel itself. So we do have certain products which we kind of provide to the hotel independently,
Hmm.
to kind of enter in. I think how we are hoping this helps us is that if we have 20 hotels of a particular brand, we can build good case studies and take that to their senior management and say, hey, we've done a good job with this. But something as critical as the website, because that's controlled by the central team and the brand, obviously, and for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's a hard sale to sell like a CMS
Yeah.
type, because you got to rip and replace, and it's not just the CMS; it's the CMS, it's the booking engine, it is the predominant revenue generating, or at least owned revenue generating channel that they own themselves. So I could see that being a very tricky long term sale.
Right. So I think with the bigger brands, what we actually are selling is an AI call agent. So how we envision the future, and we're already live with a few hotels now, is you as a guest can call a hotel or chat with an AI agent. So they're available 24/7. You don't have to worry about are they sleeping, are they not available, and the agent would talk like a human, would help you answer your questions, and actually even make the booking on call. So you can, you can have an agent saying, okay, I want to book this room. The agent will send you a payment link. You do it all on call. So that's, I think, the product and the future that we believe it's really ripe right now, right? In the last 6 months, the way AI is kind of again had its second wave of exponential growth. And that's how we think the bigger brands will have great value. Like I think one of the hotel brands I was speaking to, and they were saying they get 9 million calls a year. Like 9 million, right? So you
Jeez,
just yeah, so you need at least 100K people just to manage that. So yeah.
that's a lot of folks answering phones. I'm I'm imagining you signing that deal, and like your OpenAI bill, it's just gonna be bonkers.
I think Sam's gonna call me then and say, "Oh, hey, you're a top customer."
Rudy, thank you so much for all of that money. Just, I want you to describe the moment when, and tell me about the moment you realized we might have product market fit here.
Oh yeah, great questions. I think so. When we were at about 200 hotels, we had our top 10%. They were doing 35% of their entire top line with our services, and at that time, it was just a booking engine and some marketing. So we said, okay, you have your top 10% are really happy, and that's important. And on average, we were able to contribute 5% of the total business with a company that's just 6 months old. And I think that's when we said, hey, if we're able to contribute, and just to kind of give you a reference, a booking.com or an Expedia is happy providing 10 to 20% of the total business through them. That's like their goal. If they do 10%, they're largely very happy. 20 is their, amazing story. So that's when we realized, hey, we're not just a website builder. We're not a booking engine. We're a low key sales rep, and a very good performing one though. So that's, I think, why we realized we have a product market fit. We should double down. And that's when we said, okay, let's build AI chat call, really go down and deeper into that and drive more percentage of the total booking volumes. Yeah, and I think that's when we said, I think that's the moment we stopped thinking ourselves as a tool. Because before that, we used to call ourselves a website builder or a tool that you can use to create your website. And we started looking at ourselves as a revenue engine. So our metrics then became how many bookings are we getting? What's the top line we're generating? What's the cost of those bookings? And that was like how we looked at ourselves as a company and a product. And all of this we said, where can we put AI in? Because I think that's the opportunity that we have, right? What's really changed in the last 1 2 years is AI, and can we bring it in to actually have value, not bring it in to just create content randomly for the heck of it, but really do some things where we've seen value. Like we saw value that labor shortages are massive. So 67% of all hospitality jobs are still open and available, but people aren't coming to take them up. So we realized AI can help there. So there was a very clear need, and we can solve a problem. So I think that was kind of the lens we kind of changed. That's when we realized we have product market fit. Yeah, it was a very good day, to be honest. Now that I'm recollecting it.
That's pretty special.
Yeah.
So what comes next? It sounds like you've had this tremendous growth over the last couple of years. What comes next?
World domination. I mean, I think.
Just thinking the same thing.
I think there's this goal I had at the starting of this year saying there are 52 weeks in a year, and I want to be traveling 26 weeks at least, to expand to different countries. We're now in Saudi, we're in Dubai, we're in Indonesia, we're in the US as well, hopefully Canada as well now. But I think the idea is to kind of really spread it out and get our product out to as many geographies where we see a use case and a need. We've had organic downloads in Africa, in Europe, in US as well, in South America, in fact. And I think we were talking to a person on a WhatsApp group where he was speaking Portuguese, I was translating and then replying back in Portuguese. But I think largely just that. I think the idea is to kind of get to the globe, and I think the product that we think is going to be the superpower is going to be the AI powered chat and call agents, because that's trained on hotel data, on their availability, on their pricing, on their policies. So it can
Yeah.
handle everything from a guest booking, modifying their booking, canceling their booking, and even upsell in real time. So, if you're coming in and we know you're Canadian and you're coming to the US, hey, do you need an airport pickup? So, it becomes a lot more than just selling a hotel room, but really providing you a bigger part of that journey. And I think that 24/7 receptionist is how we kind of see the need for hospitality. We want to see that the agent's following up that, hey, Batman, you called me a couple of days back to work, but we're just checking in. I have a special discount for you of 5% because we would love to have you. Things which really sound like a human, think like a human. I know we're probably 70-80% there from a technology standpoint today, but I'm really confident that in the next 2-3 months, you're going to be 95% human AI agents. And I think that's where you want to be at. Uh, and I think if I look at a hotel, you want to convert them into these high converting, lean, automated revenue machines, right? Which is exactly what an online travel agency is, exactly what a booking.com or Airbnb do. They convert most of their guests when they come in, they do everything possible to do that. And they look at themselves as revenue creating engines. And we want to do that for a hotel. And that's kind of the goal in the next, say, 2 years.
I love it. Rudy, if somebody's curious about Hotelsify or is looking for advice, wants to work for your company, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
So you can come out to our website. It's hotelsify.com, HOTELZIFY.com. You can also reach me on my email. It's Anirudh, ANIRUDH, @hotelsify.com. Yeah, and I'm there on LinkedIn as well. So if anyone drops in a message, I normally respond within 24 hours, depending on which part of the world I'm in.
Yeah, depends on when that 24-hour clock starts.
Yeah.
Right on. Rudy, this has been great getting to know you and the Hotelsify story. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin. Lovely being here. Really enjoy my time here.
It was great having you. And thanks to everybody for listening. We'll talk to y'all next week.